Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. Go ahead and hop in Discord here. Alright, gonna go over some news, go over the major indexes, and then we'll go from there, wait for everybody to hop on, give everybody a chance. Alrighty, everybody hear me okay? Alright, 1 second here. Sorry guys, I'm trying to... Okay, we're good to go now. Can you guys hear me okay? Where's admin? Weird, I had like text go in on that announcement channel. Okay, here. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and share my screen here. Alrighty. So right off the bat, we'll go ahead and just kind of go over some of the main earnings that we had today. Definitely saw, and we'll go ahead and look at NVDA, as that was one of the bigger earnings that we had. So honestly, seeing the response in aftermarket shows me that investors are probably pretty still bullish on NVIDIA, but we'll see how tomorrow. We may end up getting a bounce off of this main support I have right here. That's the 50-day EMA, 608.75. But EPS was at 366. That beat the 3.28 estimate. Sales 5.66 billion, beat 5.4 billion. That's a nice sizable gap there. So this is a 103.33%, 33% increase over earnings of $1.80 per share from the same period last year. So definitely looks good on that end. Let's see here. They said also in the earning they believe gaming benefited from cryptocurrency mining demand in quarter, although it's hard to determine to what extent. NVIDIA sees Q2 non-GAAP gross margin 66.5% respectively, plus or minus a 50 basis points, I guess. Let's see here. Yeah, they said in H2 2021 they primarily expect to be constrained. Supply should be constrained primarily due to gaming. So don't expect to get your chips. Let's see here. So they did end up falling a little bit in aftermarket, but I've seen worse. Honestly, that's a bullish pullback. If anything, I'd love to see how it reacts tomorrow. If it gaps down, then you may see that retest of 610, but not too shabby. That was really probably the top earnings that I was paying attention to, and it looks like as far as the major indexes, we had SPY finish about, and we'll go ahead and look at SPY as we go along with this. So with SPY here, definitely still within that channel. I do think that we could potentially see another leg up tomorrow. The reason being is we made all this effort to bounce off of support. We're above linear deviation that's within this channel here. I'll go ahead and kind of correct this. There it is right there. So kind of within that linear deviation channel, and I do believe that a lot of the headlines that we saw today were very bullish, and you got to remember that it's no secret that these articles come out right in time, or the news directly correlates with the chart sometimes. So you'll see certain things, like look at Apple. Apple was sitting on support, and it did kind of taper, but at the end of the day, you get that cryptocurrency mining news, which doesn't save it, but it held it up. So definitely something to keep in mind. But SPY tomorrow, I'm looking for a potential leg up. I do see this as a potential flag here. So drawing this resistance here, you can see we kind of on that last touch. If anything, we may see it bottom here, but right now it looks to me like we have a bit of a flag. If anything, tomorrow I'd look for a bounce off that 50-day EMA. That's perfectly lined up with that support. If that's the case, then that'll be the support I'd like to watch if SPY decides to pull back. But it's still in trend as far as being bullish. Let me go draw a trend line off support before I speak too soon. Well, it's not the worst. You're flagging out, but all in all, SPY held up relatively well today, just kind of sitting in this pocket. So tomorrow, either expect a down day down to 417.90, somewhere in that range, or potentially a bounce out from there. So Alrighty. The Dow, that finished up. Looks like, if I'm correct, is that the hourly? Oh yeah, that's the hourly. Still up 1%. Is this correct? Hold on one second. I think my data's off. No, that's right. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I got my infos updating. Okay, yeah, no, so we're definitely up 20% on SPY. The Dow is up barely 1%, just kind of sat flat today. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't off. Here on TradingView, it says it's up 1%. It might just be talking about on the day. But the Dow still holding, right? The Dow still kind of holding that flag, similarly to SPY. So looking at the Dow going into tomorrow, if we hold this 50-day EMA and we get some type of positive sentiment, then I do believe that we could see a breakout or a break of downtrend. So we're really tightly consolidated between support and our resistance here. So tomorrow should be a pivotal day in giving us an idea of where we are headed next. Okay, so let me go mark out a couple different targets here. The exciting thing about this is that the Dow clearing right around clearing, and I mean that we do need to push past it, but this 344.71 mark, there's a gap that starts at 345.7850. That gap could get filled breaking out of this flag. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to here. Obviously no straight lines. It's best to be long right now, especially if you're in options. But you know, you could see a little bit of a pullback, but that gap gets filled and we should have a pretty stellar day. And that goes kind of in line with what we're seeing from Boeing. I think Boeing, and I know some of you guys in our Discord swung this one or are in this one currently with us if you're extra long, and this one looks great. It looks absolutely wonderful on this hourly time frame, ending the day with a really nice bull flag, holding up and closing above that 9-day moving average with a decent little spurt of volume. But in my opinion, and let me go up to the hourly here. Yeah, so with the hourly, this is that weekly flag, guys. This is pretty big for Boeing, and it has quite a bit of room to run until it gets to that previous all-time high, or not previous all-time high, but previous high of 277.45. So that's definitely something to take note of here, is that we definitely have a strong probability with this almost like weekly flag breakout, which is that if you look at the weekly, that's where it looks the cleanest. But from there, if we do end up getting that weekly flag breakout, we could see a significant rebound from some of the stocks like CAT, BA that have been sitting relatively stagnant. So let's see here. So QQQ. I gotta shut my blinds real quick. Alright, so as far as the Qs, up 0.3% here today. Finishing the day with just a little baby, almost a doji here. If we go down to the hourly, we see more set up for a potential run here. Let me go chart this out on the hourly real quick. So it looks like we have an ascending triangle, but I have seen these play out in reverse quite often. But I imagine tomorrow, see, that's the good thing about finishing the day in like these pivotal points, is you can kind of get an idea of where the direction is going to be heading. This was also where we consolidated, and for a while was also a small gap that got filled at 33.22 all the way to 34.21. So that's currently where we're at. And if we can take another leg up and hit this level, that 335 level, and clear 335, that next target of 336 should send the Qs back bullish, at least temporarily. But there is the probability, and I want you guys to keep this in mind, that if we have a red day tomorrow, right, and I mean red, like this 50-day EMA here, if we were to pull back on that 50-day EMA, which is also where that gap started, we could potentially pull back, right, and this is where we could play Q puts, but we would look at potentially taking target on any weeklies at that 50-day moving average. But if it was to drop all the way to the 200 on this hourly, right, well respected for sure, that's where we consolidated and broke, it's where we got stopped out at and rejected. If we bounce there, you may see another little bounce, right, kind of a bull trap deal, and then you could see a head and shoulders form here. So that's one potential here if we do not leg up and make a higher high. So and some level, I'll go ahead and mark those levels out, but right here, and it's important to watch the hourly and wait for an hourly candle to close above or below the or resistance that you're looking to break. You don't want to take something like BIDU today where it just sat in range and it was just really difficult to trade. A lot of high frequency traders too, and once they're done with it, they're done with it. So I just saw that, guys. I apologize on Discord. That was a dingus moment. All right. That's all right. Everybody get on YouTube. Wherever you want us to. You can see my face there if you want. Gives me view times go up, so you guys are more than welcome to go on there. Okay, so right off the bat, after looking at some of the major ETFs, now we can go and take a look at our watch list. Go over to some of today's trades. One second. All right, so we're going to go over a few different things here. One second. All right, so, oh my God, what a mess. All right, so let's take a look at Roblox. All right, so we ended the day with a gravestone doji. Definitely not a good sign. And we are relatively far away from our 9-day moving average on the daily. That's all the way at $80. We topped out at 95 today. Those of you that swung those contracts, I just want to lay down a general rule of thumb for you guys. If you have a small account and you're like, and this is something that like is, you know, I'm trying to remind myself, to remind you guys, but if you have a small account and I'm recommending that people trim, that's because I'm wanting people to take, if they have like 10 contracts, right? Trimming maybe about 5 contracts, right? So that takes a lot of risk off the table. But if your entire, if you only have 1 contract, 'cause that's all you can afford, when someone starts talking about trimming, you need to have your finger on the trigger, and you need to be ready to cut at the candle close, you know, on a 5-minute, you know, resistance. If you see something, you know, it depends on the situation, but like if you don't know what you're doing and you're learning, that would be something I recommend is make sure that you definitely take profit when profit's there. If you have a very small account and you end up making, you know, $60 off a $400, $500 account, that's a good day. And you just keep at it, and then, you know, the power of compounding works there. So looking at Roblox, that's never a great sign. I mean, buyers here, you almost have like a giant fight, right? So right here in between the $89 and $90 range, this is where the buyers have drove the price back up and the sellers have drove the price back down. So tomorrow, honestly, looking at that type of push down, I mean, you really got, that's a $5 drop, even more. Then in my opinion, you could potentially see another leg down. So if we're looking at the hourly and trying to, well, let me look at the 15 actually. So 15-minute time frame. So that's a break in uptrend and a bounce back up to retest that trend line that was broken. We did that bounce up on really low volume, showing you that, you know, that could have just been shorts covering and then just immediately pulled right back down, and then kind of hovering around this support. So the VIX being so low, it didn't help. We didn't get a lot of movement there. But this is a drop range that I see potentially. I could see 87.45, and pretty much if we get around those levels, $85 would be that price target for a pullback if it's done. But I still think that if we go look at the daily, you know, you're still bullish. You're still in trend, but there's definitely a need for a pullback. You ran from 64 to 95 in a really short amount of time. And I'm also going to look into if some of those congressional members that we talked about sold those stocks. All right, so Roblox, I'm going to, because I will play this short tomorrow if it doesn't keep pulling back. It looks like in after hours, it was jumping around again. It looks like it bounced off of support. So it could end up making some type of broadening wedge in this area, but they responded well since earnings. Definitely huge volume. Not as great today, but all right. So as far as Roblox is concerned, that's about it. I think levels for that one, let me mark those out really quick. Obvious level at 90.75. 90 is a psychological number, so definitely there. 90.91, 15-minute. I think this right here, 86.70 and 84.50, where you would likely get a bounce. If it did break 85, you would likely get a bounce at that level if it did end up falling. And your downtrend, it's important to go ahead and mark this out. That's what I got for right now. So as long as Roblox stays below this green line, it is bearish. So it can, short term anyway. I'm not long term bearish or anything. Nick, I would absolutely love to chart Tesla here in just a second. BIDU, we gotta look at BIDU, my guys. So in a wedge, in a triangle in hell, because that's what it's been like. Trade this ticker. So we had a AI come in today, which is, for those of you who don't know, on YouTube or anything, it's just whatever metrics Flow Algo uses for high volume. Obviously they wouldn't tell anybody that, but and it's usually a relatively large amount of option flow. We got a $200 strike on BIDU for I think it was next week, for June 4th. And with that, I was expecting at least a run from there, but it definitely seemed like the Qs kind of stifled that. And as you could see with a lot of different stocks, they spent most of the day coiled up. But what really captured my attention was the volume towards the end of the day, where, yes, in previous runs where we've had insane volume, like here, we've also dumped really, really hard. So, but that's always what we need in order to move forward. They say smart money closes the market, dumb money opens it. So if that's the case, then perhaps buyers came in towards the end of the day, and we could see a push out, because if we go look at the daily, we can see that we have made 3 daily dojis in a row. So if we're going to reverse and pull back, tomorrow is the day. And honestly, I mean, this usually signifies a reversal, but we'll see. It's at the 200-day moving average, and that does not speak bullish to me. And maybe that AI was specifically to fake people out. So I don't know. We'll have to play this one by ear. I'm going to eat chicken nuggets on live. Sorry. Okay. Stalemate? What? That's what I'm in with BIDU. Stalemate. Ain't no checkmates over here. Alrighty, so we'll go look at Tesla. Alright, so looks like we had another green day. Decent volume, again, a little bit higher than yesterday, making that next leg up to the 20-day EMA, and you can see it's exactly where we ended, right underneath that. Hourly time frame crossover for the 200-day moving average. So you have the 9, the 20, and the 50 that could potentially cross over here, as volume looks like it did pick up today. So we could see solid continuation tomorrow. Definitely a perfect hourly rounded bottom, which would put the price target at 670 as potentially the top of that bottom. And yeah, so volume tomorrow pickup, I would say a relatively decent target. And you can see like how fast Tesla fell during that day. That was a bloodbath. I remember that. But this is kind of where we got stopped out at, and we have a very small gap to fill above us to 629 right there. It's not even really worth marking out, but the nearest target that I see is 650, the obvious psychological number there. So, and that's where we wicked off of here. Yes, sir. Yeah, you guys made some nice gains off Tesla today. So, but this could be the entirety of the rounded bottom, and we could even handle out here. But I would expect a run to 670 with this EMA crossover. Let me take a look at the 2 hour here, or excuse me, not the 2 hour, the 4 hour. And looky there, 657. So just a $7 move above that. But nice rounded bottom. We'll see how this goes. All right. Yeah, we'll look at space. Yeah, it does. And the reason why I say that is because not only did it hold, but it held its 200-day EMA. Now, we don't ever like when things get multiple rejections at certain levels. That means that's where the sellers are. Let me chart this hourly time frame and tell you more. Might be a little bit inaccurate. I'm not quite sure. This just could be a sorry. So it just could be kind of like an ascending triangle a little bit, but it did hold up. I think if you can get above this target of 2750 and hold an hourly candle there, then I would imagine with a resumption of volume, or when volume resumes, if anything, we could potentially see that push back up. And honestly, you have 27 is a relatively large level. You have this 2 bounces off support there, also rejections over here. So if it does end up breaking that, we could see 29 and then even maybe 30 there. So this is a daily break and downtrend. So it's not like it's just random. It's a big gap and a push back up. But with the danger with the sitting above gaps is you can always go fill them. So just keep that in mind. Okie dokie. Let's see here. INTC, that's what I wanted to look at. What the hell is even that? So this 200-day moving average is definitely holding up INTC something fierce. And here's what I see. Yeah, I got into AMC. Game options are crazy, man. I like AMC's a little cheaper. We swung AMC. That was Atlas's swing. All right. Yeah, so looking at Intel, If we saw a gap down, now this happened in, no, that did happen in, I'll look at it. This is 2 bounces off support. If you consolidate this into 1 bounce, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So based on that, usually you would see the breakdown after a rejection here. So we'll see what happens. You can see this. Look at this gap up. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like, look at this. A gap up and then a freaking dump. A gap up and then to dump. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's exactly what it looks like. So you get a big jump here and then just a complete pullback. We actually swung puts on Intel. We're currently in Intel puts. Yeah. I will say the only thing I don't like is that it looks like a flag on the hourly. So we're going to be watching Intel tomorrow above the 200-day moving average. This was also based off of a whale order, too. The whale was huge. So if it rejects tomorrow, we got a gap to fill all the way to 56.29. If we break this resistance, then it's the opposite. We'll take 57. So. Do you cut because of the flag? All right, let's go look at, ooh, shit, AMC. Well, this is normally what you see when shorts start taking hold, right? So you did, yes, you ended, and this is the price mark that we talked about. I have two main targets here, and you can see we get a little bit of red at each. But here is where we're really seeing a significant amount of these shorts coming in at this higher time frame hourly level. Huge volume today. So that's definitely something to keep note of. But a lot of times high volume means a lot of people are also taking profit. And when people take profit, like at certain psychological numbers like 20 and stuff like that, there could be bag holders from AMC for a long time that bought, at 15 or whatever the case may be, and it dropped all the way to 9. So that being said, I would use the hourly 9-day moving average as like a way to confirm a reversal on AMC. If a candle breaks and holds the if a candle breaks the 9-day moving average and holds it, then I imagine we'll see some more downside. You see shorts being covered for. Is there a reason that gaps fill? That's a good question, actually. Me and Manny talked about that months ago. Did we put that in the chat? Hold on, we might have put that. I guess it's just, it's psychologically, it's a place where, no trading has taken place. It's where you open up the price. So when you have a large gap, it almost is like a bait in a way, or not even bait, but It's said that all gaps get filled, and whenever you like different price trend, yeah, that too. But I mean, like if it's a gap to the upside, like then I mean that you could say yes, I agree with that. You know, different price trend, but it also um, when there's no trading taking place in one single area, it's like that's a gap to fill, or to the downside. Like if there's no trading in a certain area, certain price range, then that like it's easier to take advantage of. You know, no trading is taking place there. But fundamentally speaking, I'm not like sure if there's a specific reason why certain gaps fill. I think a lot of it could be that somebody said like, hey, look at this giant gap, you know, like in the chart, you know. So yeah, ask Kathy. Kathy knows. One second. Yeah. I'm really seeing. I was just looking to see if I could find something. Okay. So we got AMC. It's definitely a potential, man. But I mean, the news is kind of already come and gone on space. So you know, there's a potential that that run is over. So we'll see. All right, guys, just a little bit. Go ahead and lay the rest of whatever charts you guys are looking at. I will be, thank you. I will be on tomorrow morning. I'm going to try and change the time in which we start to 8:30. Maybe even 8 o'clock. And I hope that that will encourage, I know that, and what I may do is do this on live YouTube as well. But the reason why is because I want to encourage a lot of you guys who may be struggling with trading, see how and you may already do this, but if you don't, you might find that you'll see a difference, you know, like in your trading if you wake up, and you're prepared, your mind is prepared, you've had time to wake up, you've made a list of the decisions that you're going to make. Methodical, and you know, like, okay, this is where I'm going to take this trade, this is where I'm going to take this trade, and this is the strike I'm going to take. If the volume doesn't step up the way I like it, I'm not going to take the trade, blah 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 blah. But it's always good to have your decisions planned out when it comes to something like this, because you can get decision fatigue, if you will. You know, you got to make all these decisions and shit all day. All right. What other tickers do we have? What do you guys want charted? Yeah. So I'm happy to do this one. Very obvious. Well, let's go to the daily. I probably don't even finish my sentence, but it just looks so damn good, dude. You've had this downtrend, but it's just been such a battle for the bears to like actually push it down And if anything, I have 21, which is I always think of 21 Savage when I say 21 immediately. 21. 21 right here. Yeah, so I think that there's a potential for a break in downtrend here. That's what I'm looking for. We've had pretty phenomenal volume on this pullback. And so I'm looking at a potential break in downtrend tomorrow. After finding your target, do you choose an option just below your target price, assuming IO expert? That's a really good question. So it has a lot to do with, like, let's say, let me find it. So let's say we were taking Vails short, right? There's a bearish pattern up there. It looks like it's going to dump. And maybe we even know that bad news is potentially coming. We, right before the bell, somebody says Vails going to hail, and they did some bad shit. So right now we're looking at 19, right? $19 would be, it depends on the catalyst, right? If it's just a profit-taking pullback, different story. You don't want to put your too much exposure out there. But as far as like, okay, there's a reason why $19, obvious support. I would more than likely, especially if it was at 2070, I would take a shorter expiration right outside of the money put, and then I would go a week out and I would select a $19 put. And more than likely, you don't just, sometimes you do, but a lot of times you'll wick down below, and it'll give you an opportunity to sell that contract in the money. And that's kind of how you'll find that psychological numbers, or you'll see there's a correlation to supports on the chart and certain IO, IV. Like, people know, what they're looking at for the most part, especially if they're buying large amounts of these for the most part. And so when we're looking at taking, positions, it's based off of targets. And for me, it all really depends on the uniqueness of the situation. If we're looking at something on the daily and we're expecting, we have 4 or 5 different targets, and it's been bottomed out and the momentum is shifting back, and we have the correlating ETF ETF has a bullish setup on it, then there's the potential that we could see multiple targets hit. So in order to schedule almost those, you go shorter expiration, right? And you try and take advantage of the lucrativeness of those contracts going in the money, entering and exiting them, as you see fit. Then, alongside those, you enter an expiration based on a target that you have, a specific target. I choose my target price. Like, I think that this is a resistance, and let's say my target price is 90. Let's say, looking at Vail, my target price in the next 2 months is 25, right? So I could get a June 18th 2250 call or something, and that's without looking at the chain, but I would assume that 2250 call has decent IO and IV. And looking at the chart, like, if that's what if I had that $30 price target or that $25 price target, then the strategy would be, okay, now I'm going to look at an August 25 strike, June 18th, or July, whatever the case may be, and have it staggered like that. So that way you're able to, all the while, the longer contract's not going to lose value so quickly, but the shorter expiration contracts will. So you're going to be able to take profit on those contracts relatively, like once it hits target 1, you can take profit, you're still in the trade, and then you can use weeklies if you still see momentum and add into that, right? Or you can scalp weeklies while still holding that weekly contract, and then in one sweep take profit and get out when you see a reversal sign. And then you hold on to those, that lower time frame reversal sign, and then you hold on to those contracts going forward. So as long as you see momentum and no, you know, major type of reversal. This is all based off of one situation where you could potentially see multiple targets hit based off of positive sentiment. That doesn't mean that somebody can't say something or tweet something, or, you know, we know how the market works right now. So, all right, a few more minutes, guys. Neo, understandably so, as this one is a pain in the ass. We got this one though. I was a little bit off. I don't put them right on there, but we did end up bouncing down. Nope, get out of here. Okay, so looks like we're kind of extending a wedge a little bit. So we had a correction here, right? So this was going to potentially be a golden crossover to the downside. Now this looks like it could be a significant crossover to the upside. It's sitting up against the 50-day EMA. That's at 38.35. I'd recommend setting a alert there. You'll notice that that's perfectly aligned with my yellow line, which is my resistance line, and that's the downtrend that we would need to break in order to move this up to the upside. Volume, not so great, but the reversal off of the 200-day EMA on low volume shows that it still has relative strength and that it could continue to move to the upside. Tesla and a lot of the EVs actually moved quite well today, so that's definitely something that could have added to that factor. But if the market does end up bouncing SPY, all of those like we talked about, then we could see some momentum continuing into NEO tomorrow. But what I would be watching specifically is for some type of reversal. So if we see any type of reversal, then we would want to go ahead and exit that trade. And I mean that underneath resistance. So if you see an hourly candle start pulling back, wait for it. Watch it on the hourly and wait for that candle to push and hit your target with volume. So, all right, NEO. All right, just a few more. I'm gonna skedaddle. Of course, Steve, not a problem. We'll watch EVs in live tomorrow too on the Discord, so that's definitely one that's on my mind. We had a nice break-in downtrend last time, and then it went and retested that downtrend to extend the wedge. It was pretty funny. Well, not funny, it was heartbreaking, but... Alrighty, I'm gonna do PLTR. Oops, shit. Ooh, I'm getting tired. So, alright, I'm gonna say something really quick, and I want you guys to take it with a grain of salt. But I'm not too convinced that we're done with our pullback until I see major reversal signs. Now, some of these are bouncing off of, we're getting a rounded bottom on Tesla. You know, there's a couple of ones and they're moving really well. But I'm not too, we're still inside of these really large higher time frame setups or patterns. And with that, you know, looking at PLTR on the daily, right? I have this, you know, wedge here forming, and that's running up to that 50-day EMA where it almost tapped it. But if this ends up tapping 2288 and pulling those buyers in, it could still potentially reverse quite hard, and it's getting it right around that range where it could. And I'm seeing a lot of similar setups within the market due to, you know, I mean, obviously we get a big bounce off support. I love PLTR, right? I'm a PLTR bull with half of the damn chat. and probably half of the damn world at this point. But I have to just look at the charts and like, you know, let them tell me what they say, you know. So I mean, right now it looks like 2273. If we hit that mark and we close a candle above it, you know, bullish candle above it, break that $23 mark, then absolutely we could still see. I think PLTR is a great long-term hold, and you know, it could be one that you focus on. Remember, if you guys were listening last night, you know, we're talking about focusing on a set of stocks, and this, I think, could be one that if you see it as a long-term investment and you like the company, you know, it's one that you can practice on and start to get really good at recognizing how it moves. You know, what does it do at certain resistance points. So, alrighty, guys. I'm getting sleepy. All right, so we're going to go over just a little bit more news to kind of finish this off. Just finish everything off. So, had a little bit, for those of you tuning in a little bit late, consumer, discretionary, energy, those all moved today about 9% or 0.9%. Healthcare was the weakest sector today. Bitcoin, that one has been bouncing between 38 and 40K, and there's some conflicting feelings around this price range, guys, and I'm not too convinced that it's over with, but we'll see here. So, 1 second, I wanted to see. Is there? 1 second. Yeah, anyway, so meme stocks, GameStop went up 16%, AMC went 19%, Zscaler zipped up 12% after its Q3 earnings, 12%, CS, and they just made a little doji on the daily, but let's see. If you guys didn't know or haven't seen already, MGM and Amazon are in a partnership together. Merger rather, a $8.45 billion merger with MGM. It's their latest acquisition and will contribute to the Amazon Studio services. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. They have a giant catalog of films: Pink Panther, Moonstruck, Poltergeist, 12 Angry Men, Creed, James Bond, RoboCop, all of those good stuff. And let's see, Ford, and a lot of you guys took that call and ended up making some guapo. That one in after hours is screaming. No breaks. So I think that we could continue to see a run. I think this is one that we definitely need to continue watching, as it is such a big company entering the EV. It has more capability. Obviously, semiconductors are a challenge for everybody right now, but the capabilities of a company like Ford to be able to convert or start to pump out electric vehicles, they have facilities, they have plants. Whereas a lot of these other companies are just speculative and trading a little bit higher. They have their electric Bronco, of course, but. So crypto boo-boos, Iran banned crypto mining until September 2021. The country suffers from power cuts to make mining matters worse. And they basically are blaming that for droughts and everything like that. Our energy demand is growing vastly, so. Snowflake, right? So this is one that is a favorite in our Discord. And Ouchie Mama. That had and it ran up with their earnings with kind of a, no, they ended up not holding. So they failed to meet earnings estimates, but they beat on revenue. Buffett's software bet raised its Q1 revenue 110% year over year. The EPS was negative 0.70 cents, or excuse me, not negative, was 70 cents compared to the 51 cent estimate. Revenue was 228 million, plus 110% year over year. The SoFake CEO Frank Salutman, Snowflake reported strong Q1 results with triple-digit growth in product revenue, reflecting strength in customer consumption. Remaining performance obligations showed a robust increase year over year, indicating strength in sales across the board. So watch that one. Earnings tomorrow, nothing really exciting. Dollar General, which is actually one that I do like to watch, but that, it looks like shit. Alrighty, y'all. Well, that is about it. I am gonna go ahead and hop off. I will see you guys. I need to see an article. I need to read something about that, because that's crazy if that's just algorithms correcting. All right. Snowflake pulled back and bounced off of its 200-day EMA on the hourly, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. And look at that. It's holding its 9-day moving average here in after hours. Wow, that's funny. I haven't seen Kim Possible. Alrighty, y'all. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. 8:30 tomorrow. If you guys are, I may even try and scrape up and get myself around 8:15. So we will see. But if you guys have any questions, or if you guys have any charts, right, that you would want me to take a look at in the morning, DM them to me somehow or tag me, and I will look at them when we go over in the morning. I'll write all of them down, and we will go over them, whether I chart them before I get on or after. So, but anyway, I'm gonna go hang out with the kiddos. You guys have a good afternoon, good evening. See you tomorrow. Hi, DJ. All right, YouTube, or other people in the Discord, you guys have until I figure out how to turn this off. There it is. Yuhan. I didn't want to leave you hanging there. It does. Yeah, we do have a premium Discord. And I start streaming at 8:30. But it will be on live on YouTube. So if you want to check that out. But it's $60 a month, so. Feel free to look us up on Instagram and shoot us a DM that way for anybody looking to get in contact with us. Simple Stacks Investments or Dumbledore's Trades for a short period of time until I change that. So, all right, guys, have a good evening.